All right. Good morning, agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing here at Alta. And today we're going to go through list maintenance, database list maintenance, segmenting your list properly, and all that good stuff. But before we get into today's presentation, we're going to have Bill Seitz, our corporate broker, join us. Good morning, Bill. How are you today?
Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, everybody with Alta. How are you doing today?
All right. It's a great day. Great day for a webinar. Happy Wednesday to all.
Yeah, it's hump day.
Today is hump day, yes. And Bill, did you
let's
want
get
to
over
run
that
through?
hump.
Exactly. Bill, did you want to run through your broker tip before we bring Debbie on the line?
I can, for sure. I also sent you that slide yesterday. I don't know if you got it, but if not, we can review it next Wednesday before we finish off the year. I had some new information regarding the National Association of Realtors lawsuit that was that we talked about. I think it was either last week or the week before, regarding the states of Missouri, Illinois, and was it Kansas? One of those the three states, plus minus, and just some of the, as I had mentioned, some of the information that's kind of slowly coming out and the different perspectives on the lawsuit. I have some updated information, but we can get into that next Wednesday. That's fine.
I've got it. I can bring that up.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was on the email.
Yeah. I'll pull it up right now, my friend.
And one thing that's, I think everyone kind of got panicky and is nervous, and rightfully so. I think everybody should be a little bit on their toes regarding this stuff, from the brokerage standpoint and from the agent standpoint. And as I mentioned, I did not, want to have a knee-jerk reaction to all this stuff, overnight and start losing my cool, so to speak, without getting all the information, without seeing the different perspectives of legal and car, for example, and the other big players in our industry. And so we are seeing some things kind of trickle out on that. And if you kind of scroll down, Kevin, one thing that we have going for us in California that is different than some of these other states is we have a pretty high, our contract is written differently than some of these states, and we are held to a very high level of understanding of the legal components to the framework of the contracts. And I just wanted to kind of bullet point the California laws that are helpful for us. And some of those things are that all types of listings are allowed. So we have multiple types of listings. We have entry only listings, and we have negotiability of commission language. So that's a big deal. The fact that we can negotiate it, that's not a fixed percentage. We can have those conversations with our sellers. So that's important. There's no ban on rebates or required minimum services. Listing agreement details splits, and the California Civil Code defines the MLS as a facility for offering compensation between real estate brokers. So, we're not, it's not apples to apples. And so I think, once again, as we keep learning about this stuff, and I had a nice chat with Ann Harris, actually, because I think we had talked, it was last week. She was able to get on that car webinar, and she was basically saying there wasn't too much new or that she was unaware of. It did talk about the buyer broker agreement, and that's something that we will get into the new year, and kind of our updated kind of recommended policy on that. I'm still gonna probably reach out to our corporate attorney, have a one-on-one with him about this stuff. And so we'll keep moving towards a good working solution, so that we're not all freaked out and saying, oh my gosh, the sky is falling and there's no solutions. But just to let everyone know that we are on top of it. We're keeping up to speed with this stuff. And what you can do in the meantime is just be clear to your sellers and explain the process, thoroughly, using the pros and cons of offering compensation to the buyer agents and how much and what they do for the process, and make sure you give that full explanation. And that's really important, because what they were saying was that the sellers had no idea that they had an obligation to pay a buyer's agent's commission. So that's really the crux of the whole problem is in that initial complaint. So, just a reminder, we're on top of it. We're keeping our eyes on it. We will keep, plowing forward on this stuff. And yeah, that's just, I really wanted to touch on that really quickly, Kevin.
Yeah.
And then,
And is there anything else pertinent on this slide below here?
no, I kind of just read through it. It's okay. It'll be on the webinar, right? So I mean, on
Yeah.
the replay. So if you want to reference it, run through this, it's pretty good. To be honest, it kind of bullet points and kind of runs through the overview, and you can spend probably 10 minutes on this and go, okay, cool. I kind of understand the whole crux of it and how California is a little bit different and what the recommendations are. So that's a good little resource for everybody just to take a peruse at.
No, that's great. Thank you, Bill.
And then before we get Debbie on, I believe she's coming on to talk about some construction financing that's available now, which is great. I had outlined I know we weren't able to get it out yesterday, but we'll get it out today, is just the broker tips for getting your CDAs out on time and how our process works. And this is for our new agents, their TCs, and our existing agents. And just a reminder of best practices with that policy and how to have the most success within our system. It actually is very simple. I outline exactly how it should be done. Ideally, the process should be done in basically 3 uploads, and 1 at time of listing or acceptance of the offer. 2 in the secondary phase of the transaction when you have inspections, reports, maybe any kind of renegotiation, once the appraisal, physical inspection, any types of things that are done, you hold those together. You do a second major upload that comes with all the disclosures that are signed by both seller and buyer. And then the final upload would be your trailing documents, any adjustments at the very end, maybe your walkthrough. We don't make you have the final settlement statement or the MLS closed out or the couple of the final things that come after that. But it's super important just to remind your TCs and yourselves, 48, 72 hours, you're in the clear, right? You're going to get that CDA out. If the file is dumped on the day of closing, there's no way for any of us to know what kind of workflow. There's no predictability. We could have 30 files ahead of you. We could have 2 files ahead of you. It's impossible to know the way this business works. As we know, nothing is set in stone. We all try to work off of dates that are accurate, but things get delayed, things get moved up. And so if you can, if you're working with a TC that's maybe new to our system, as an agent, let them know that, 48, 72 hours is the safe zone for review and getting the CDA out. If you file dump the day of closing and, think that, there's no guarantee that's going to happen. And imagine if you're an agent that is waiting to be reviewed and there's 10 or 15 agents that have done their job and they have done everything the right way. And now someone's, hasn't done it the way we would ask them to. And now they're trying to leapfrog and clog the system. So the system works really well. And I actually want to thank all the agents and the TCs that have kind of learned our process, because I've seen it on my side become a lot smoother. But just a reminder, it's there's a very detailed email. It's not very long, but you can share that with your TCs. You can just review it yourself. And, once again, our goal is to get you paid when your escrow closes. That's always been our philosophy. We're not interested in holding the money in our account. We want that to be a bonus and a benefit of doing a great job. And so that's just our little end of year reminder, Kevin.
I love it, Bill. No, really important. So I do appreciate you outlining that articulately in an email. So I will definitely get that out to everybody today. And that way everybody has that in writing, just real easy to predict that way. All right, perfect. And so now I'm going to bring on Debbie Saccone from Clearview Mortgage. One second here. Good morning, Debbie. How are you doing today? Debbie, can you unmute yourself?
I am doing fantastic. How about everybody else?
Phenomenal.
I am, you know what? I kept thinking to myself from the beginning of December, oh, things are really, I could feel it, with all the appointments and the pre-quals. It's really going to pick up after the first of the year. Well, it took a jump start because I had like 3 deals go into escrow this week, but and purchases. So that's a good sign. It's a really good sign. Rates have been coming down every day, little by little. In case you don't know, the loan limits have increased for conventional financing in the lower county limits. The max loan, like Riverside County, some of the lower income counties, $766,550. So $766,550 is the new limit. It used to be $526,200. Now it's $566,550. And then for the higher cost counties, used to be $1,089,300. Now it's $1,149,825. Why don't they just do an even number? Oh my gosh. I'll say it again, 1,149,825.
And 16
And
cents? That's pretty weird, huh?
and the FHA has not yet announced their increase. I mean, for all this year, it's been 644,000. And of course, in the high cost areas, it's been $1,089,000. So we'll see what FHA goes up to, and maybe I'll have some, new news on that before the first of the year. But today, I wanted to talk about something that is absolutely fascinating to me. I've had people come up to me and say, oh, they see a piece of land that they want and they want to buy it. Well, for the most part, someone's going to have cash. Or, we have very little resources for land loans. It's very high risk. There's really no improvements on that land. So normally our investor that we have has a minimum $100,000 loan amount and 40% down payment requirement. That means that piece of land has to cost $166,666 with 40% down. It's $100,000 loan amount. So people that want to purchase piece of land that's 130,000, 100,000, 50,000, we just don't have the resources. They're going to have to pay cash, or because most people want to buy the land to build on. Or in a lot of cases, I see people want to go, want to try to go the least expensive way they are thinking anyway, and plop a manufactured home down on that piece of land. We have a construction loan that will incorporate the land that you want to buy. So let's say that you see a piece of land that you like for 50,000, and what you're going to need is to, get a contractor, get the plans together of the home that you want, and an estimate, how much is it going to cost? And at least know that in advance. And when you find the piece of land, we can incorporate the land and the construction of what you want to put on that piece of land into one loan. And it's a one-time close. It is, I think, the most amazing loan, giving people the opportunity that can't just plop, 50,000, 100,000 down on a piece of land and then worry about, oh my God, then they're going to need to figure out, well, how am I going to get a construction loan? But the most amazing thing about this, like I get chills when I think about it. The minimum down is 5% for conventional financing. That's amazing. You know, you find the piece of land, you got your plans, you got your estimate. Let's say the whole thing comes up to 300,000. Your requirement is 5% down. That's it. That's for conventional financing. Now, let's say that you have you meet up with a veteran. This is the most amazing thing. For veterans, they can it must be owner occupied, first of all. And let's see here. And the most amazing thing that I have to pitch myself is 100% financing. And for VA alone, of course, it has to be owner occupied, but for conventional, it could be for an owner occupied home. It could be for a second home. It could be for an investment property. So, I mean, it is the most amazing option to offer someone who comes to you and they want to purchase a piece of land, and they're thinking in their mind they can just go in with minimal down payment. That's just not available. You know, any lender is going to require 40-50% down on a piece of land, and then they're going to have a minimum loan amount. You know, they're not going to do loans under 100,000. No one will. I mean, it's just really hard. I don't know how people do loans in other states where, you know, you can get a mansion for 130,000 and you know, the loan amount could be under 100,000. But in any case, if you have more questions about this construction loan, it's a one-time close. You know, give me a call, because I just think this is the most fascinating thing, and how great to have this option, because most people can't afford that piece of land. But, you know, have them get some plans and an estimate, and we can put it all together for them.
Well, that's fantastic, Debbie. Well,
I know. Well, I hope you
man,
guys have a wonderful week, and you know, the holidays coming up. I don't know if we're going to have a meeting next week, but if not, I just want to say I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday.
Yes, you'll definitely have another meeting.
Okay. And be successful out there. It's not slow.
No, it is not. Well, thank you, Debbie. Appreciate the update there. So now we are going to switch gears, and we are going to talk about database maintenance. So your database is your business. So in every business, your database is your business, right? And so because of that, we have to make sure that we are taking care of our database. And so some agents like to do database maintenance once a month. Some agents like to do database maintenance once a year. So it really depends, but you do need to get into your list, and you need to, first of all, add people, you know, constantly be adding people to your list. That is your business, is adding people to your list. And the second, you want to be able to segment that list into very, very meaningful groups. And so it could be as easy as segmenting. I know some realtors that segment their list into people they have met and people they have not met, right? So you have a very, very simple segmenting of your lists, or you can have a very complex segmenting of your list, right? So some agents, they like to really break their list into small groups that they can communicate to individually, right? And so here's a really cool line right here. Email list segmentation is an invaluable tool for real estate agents looking to turn nurtured leads into qualified clients. Segmenting your email list consists of dividing your contacts into smaller groups to make sure the emails that you send are more interesting and relevant to each category of recipients. So the example is, you're not going to send an email detailing, things about selling a home to somebody that you know is interested in buying a home, right? So, and the same thing goes for, the opposite. You want to be able to tailor your email marketing to very specifically what that group is looking for. And so you could even, go drill it, way deeper, and you could segment your list into much more finite groups. And just remember that there's a fine line here. So you can do too much segmenting, and then you're just really creating a little bit extra work for yourself. So you have to be very, very careful not to segment your list too much. That's why I said some agents, they literally will segment their list into 2 lists: buyers, sellers, people that you've met, and people that you haven't met. So super simple. The reason that we do this is because we want to make sure that our target audience is receiving relevant information, right? So it is not very difficult in our Elevate CRM to go in and to tag, and we have a nice little tag area. All you have to do is go into the profile area. We've got history, docs, tasks, notes, profile, and you can add a tag. And so again, you can add as many tags as you want, but we do want to make sure that we do this meaningfully, right? So part of database maintenance is making sure that the clients and the prospects in your CRM are properly tagged, and you have some really good relevant information just for yourself in that area. So another part of database maintenance is literally just getting rid of people that are not going to buy, or not going to sell. They told you to pound sand. And so you want to definitely make sure that you're getting rid of those prospects as well. So and then once you have once you have the prospects divided up and segmented properly, well, then we can go into our email system. We can create an email, and we can make sure that we are emailing just that particular group, right? Or people just in that particular tag. And so we can do 2 different things. We can just send one-off emails, but we can also create drip email campaigns to provide a succession of emails to our prospects. And so honestly, that is the best way to do it. You don't want to send too many emails to each of these groups. You want to be a squeaky wheel, but not annoying. So super important to, segment that list and then use it to create emails. So in our Elevate email area, we would go in here, we would select email, and then we could literally just build out either the individual email or the email drip campaign. So that is all I really had today. I just want to make sure that at the end of the year that people are taking time to actually go into their database, go into their list, and to do some meaningful thought in that database. Make sure that we are making a conscious effort to make that database as workable for us as possible. So obviously, if we have tons and tons of people that we haven't talked to in a long time, that's not going to do us any good. Or if we have people that we haven't added to our list. So both of those things are huge database maintenance things that you need to be thinking about all the time. And honestly, database maintenance should be done every month. It should be done at least once at the end of the month, I think is the best, because throughout the month you're adding people, you might have forgot someone. And so it's just a good time to just take that and make sure that that list is as accurate as possible, because that's where we're going to find our deals. And so, a few webinars ago, we mentioned that, on average, it takes about 50 real estate conversations to lead to a deal. Well, this is setting yourself up for success. And so you're able to, all of your people right there. So really, really important to get that list super tight. And so it's working for you. So Bill, any quick takeaways from our segmenting in our list database maintenance?
No, it's always good to have always good to have proper house cleaning. And also, if you're working with farms, you're working with DJ or someone else that's helping with your farms. Obviously, that's a whole kind of separate animal as well. So I think it is good to keep them separate and keep them kind of compartmentalized, because the communication is going to be different for every type of person, right? Whether you're targeting people in homes that are been in their house for 7 to 10 years, we know that's the statistical average of when people typically have the propensity to sell. Out of that's the average, that's not the rule. And then you have the people that you're meeting along the way, and then you have your social circles, and then you have maybe your if you're involved with a school or church or charity, then you have those people segmented. So it is a real efficient process. If you kind of lump everyone together, I don't think it's as effective, and your messaging certainly won't cross pollinate all those different groups.
No,
Because
it just won't. You're right. It just won't. So good point there.
Yeah. No, other than that, kind of a short and quick and easy webinar this week. I just want to, let's see, I'm just looking at the calendar here, Kevin, and I think next Wednesday will be our final training of the year as we get into the final week of Christmas, New Year's. I'm looking at, what is it, the 22nd, 20th? What is next
Next Wednesday is the 20th. And so that'll be our last webinar for the year.
Okay, perfect. Yep. And then we will skip the 27th and then get back into things fresh and rested for early January.
Yeah. And so I believe we're going to have Lauren Nowak join us next week to go over some of the changes with the form. Is that correct?
Yes. Thanks for reminding me. Yep. So there has been changes to some of the car forms, as we all know and probably despise. Because they keep throwing stuff at us that we're constantly having to understand, and nothing ever stays static. I think that's the right the right definition there. In this business, it's always changing. So obviously we need to know these things, and it's our job at the brokerage also to make you guys aware of this stuff. So I know that Lauren was doing some trainings with car, and she is a car certified forms trainer on top of being one of our compliance officers. So she is a very good person to have a few minutes with us on these changes. So I think next Wednesday it will be a very important webinar. And so let's finish the year out strong. And yeah, that's it.
All right, perfect. Well, Bill, thanks for the insights there. Debbie, thanks, of course, for all of your insights as well. And agents, thank you guys for taking time on a Wednesday to learn more about your business. Well, with that said, you guys get out there, make it a great week and a productive week, and we will see you guys next Wednesday on the webinar.